Good morning, everyone. This is MightyStream, brought to you by Hope Through Navigation with the H.O.O.D Recovery Services Program. Today is April the 29th. I want to greet you this morning. It's about 6:30 a.m. and I'm excited about doing the Just for Today NA meditation with you. It's become a part of my morning routine to do a recording of just my thoughts on the meditation. And hopefully you can get to know me a little bit better through the recordings, but also I'm hoping that you're benefiting spiritually from being able to have a place you can go and listen to a dialogue regarding your Just for Today in a meditation. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. So I hope to hear from you. I'm also on Facebook under MightyStream Anders. You will find me there as well. You can reach out to me and try to let me know where I know you from. I'm excited about today. Let's go ahead and get into the Just for Today. And let's see here. There it goes. Hopefully you can see that. April 29th, what if? Living just for today relieves the burden of the past and the fear of the future. We learn to take whatever actions are necessary and to leave the results in the hands of our higher power. Basic text, page 94. I have no idea why I'm so tongue-tied this morning. I think it's because I haven't had much coffee, just one sip. And so let's reread it. Living just for today relieves the burden of the past and the fear of the future. We learn to take whatever actions are necessary and to leave the results in the hands of our higher power. Basic text, page 94. In our active addiction, fear of the future and what might happen was a reality for many of us. What if we got arrested, lost our job, our spouse died, we went bankrupt, and on and on and on. It was not unusual for us to spend hours, even whole days, thinking about what might happen. We planned out entire conversations and scenarios before they ever occurred, then charted our course on the basis of what if. By doing this, we set ourselves up for disappointment after disappointment. From listening in meetings, we learned that living in the present, not the world of what if, is the only way to short circuit our self-fulfilling prophecies of doom and gloom. We can only deal with what is real today, not our fearful fantasies of the future. Coming to believe that our higher power has only the best in store for us is one way we can combat that fear. We hear in meetings that our higher power won't give us more than we can handle in one day. And we know from experience that if we ask, the God we've come to understand will surely care for us. We stay clean through adverse situations by practicing our faith in the care of in the care of a power greater than ourselves. Each time we do, we become less fearful of what if and more comfortable with what is. Just for today, I will look forward to the future with faith in my higher power. That is, first of all, I agree with everything I read, just about. The only part I would say I don't necessarily agree is that we know from experience that if we ask, the God we've come to understand will surely care for us. I have seen the power of God take care of me without me asking. Yes, I would have to say that being in a position of humility to ask is important. But I think it just postures us to be able to receive help. Because I believe that my higher power is always looking out for my best interest. But when I don't have the humility to ask for help, I believe that my heart is already postured in a position of humility, of knowing and that I need my higher power to help me. So sometimes we need to verbalize things. I think that the essence of this is that we need to be humble and we need to have a higher power that we can go to um, on good days and bad days. And that if we believe in our higher power, if we believe in God, that our higher power will answer us. Um, but I do think that those answers come regardless, because I have seen some wonderful things take place in my life that I needed desperately, but I didn't think that I qualified to be able to ask. I thought that my asking was somehow, I don't want to say arrogant, but it was assuming that I deserved to have those things. Um, but it was always in my heart to have or to do certain things. And I believe because my relationship, my intimacy with my higher power, he understands the desires of my heart. And I believe that my heart is postured properly towards my higher power in a humble way. And I believe that's probably why I have received those things. Um, but the power of asking, I do believe is an act of humility and not one that we should overlook, right? You ever heard that saying, we have not because we ask not, right? I think that that is where this is coming from. We do need to be willing to ask. But I honestly think that my higher power, he knows what I need and he provides those things. And he knows how I am, that I'm not going to ask for anything that's going to come across as being um, extra material type stuff. Um, but I've seen him make a way for me to be able to have those things regardless. Um, right now, the thing that I'm asking or thinking about asking about is I want a rack. There's this rack, I don't know what it's called, but there's a rack I want to put on the back of my Jeep that can carry 5 bikes. And then I want to find bikes that everyone in my family can ride that have those big fat mountain bike wheels. And so those are fairly expensive. And so those are things that I want and that I'm asking in my heart, right? and I do suppose probably by summer I will have those things, but I just wanted to um, touch on that. But yeah, so this is a beautiful just for today meditation. And I know for a fact that this first part here that talks about that we live in fear of the future. Um, I can attest to that, that I was always constantly trying to predict the future, think about what might happen, and I would take actions based on the scenarios that I set up. And so it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy because I was preparing for the worst in many cases. And I would make sure that I had money tucked over here, money tucked over there, clothes packed, put in the trunk just in case I had to leave right away or got put out right away, got found out and needed to take leave, that I would always have finances. I would always have clothing to get me through for a couple of days, that I would always have a place to go. I still today, because I drive a Jeep, but I still today see myself as I don't want to say transient person, but I see myself as being able to uproot and go. In my mind, I see myself that way. Now that I have children with me that I'm caring for, uh, I have to remember that they don't do well with that let's pick up and go type disposition. They need to be stable. They need to be in the same school system. There's certain things that children need that don't afford just throwing everything in the car and taking off and I'm going to see my friends and whatever, right? So that has changed for me. But I used to predict that I was not going to be wherever I was at a certain point in time, that things would get sour. They would find out what type of person I was and didn't want to deal with me. And so I believe that that part of this Just for Today is very true. That we always sort of looked at the future in a negative light, and we would spend many hours thinking about how things could turn out. And things always, usually, I would say, always turned out better than what I was predicting. But man, did I waste a lot of time thinking about the future. I do believe in that saying that says, those that fail to plan to fail. So I think there's a component of making the way or preparing for the next day, right? When I was growing up, they used to say you always needed to have a rainy day fund, 3 months, and I'm sure it's more now, but 3 months of existence, of expenses that you just keep pushed aside so that you have at least 3 months of money that can carry you through a bad spell, right? And I think that is true. You need to have something that you can fall back on. You have to, so that when things come up, you're not left completely at zero and without. You still have money to put food in the house. You have, if you're searching for a job, you have transportation funds. Um, you can keep your electric, your gas. You know what I'm saying? You can keep those basics going in your house while you figure out the rest. And so I do think that's good counsel, but we're not talking about that here. We're talking about the type of person that is always um, manipulating and planning and trying to figure out what is the worst this situation can become and what do I need to do to make sure I come out on top, right? So we're wasting energy and time. So what we do is we learn that we can short circuit the what ifs by living in today, by sitting in our meetings and listening to people talk about how they're living a spiritual program. Step 12 talks about being able to apply all these principles, these spiritual principles in all our affairs. And I think that's important. The principle of honesty and trust and surrender, open-mindedness and willingness. These are all spiritual principles that can come to your aid when you're in a bad spot. I have this one lady that she just went through a really difficult time period. Very, very difficult. And it's still ongoing. It's not completely dealt with. But I just marvel at her ability to plug into the program, her ability to plug into spiritual principles, and to do things that are organically mind and mood altering, right? I'm not talking about drugs, substances. I'm talking about those things that a person can do to change their body chemistry in a natural way, like exercise, like getting out in the yard and raking, taking walks, eating properly, getting good rest, saying no when you need to, and meaning it, right? These are all things that a person can do that can promote personal wellness. And I think they're important for us to do in recovery. One of the things that having a higher power for us does is it helps us to combat fear. Coming to believe in our higher power that our higher power has only the best in store for us is one way we can combat fear. We hear people share, God won't ever give you more than you can handle. And I believe that God will never give you more than you can handle without making a way out for you, right? There will always be a solution. But the problem is sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees. And so when we're in the problem, a lot of times that's all that we see. Like a sick person, they only talk about how bad they feel. Why go around a sick person thinking that you're going to be encouraged? You're going to be able to encourage them maybe, but a sick person is going to talk about their ailments, right? So it's very interesting to me that when God visits my situation, when God visits my illness, when God visits my reservations and my fears, when that house call is made to my problem by the God of my understanding that I've chosen to believe in, and I start to view my circumstances from the viewpoint of God, everything that I'm going through decreases in size. Like the month of April is absolutely one of the most difficult months without fail every year for the last umpteen years, since I probably was 16. So the month of April is a very difficult month. And tomorrow is going to be a very significant day for me. And then I will move, thank God, into, I will move very quickly into May, right? I think there's 31 days in the month of April. So I'm not really sure, but I know that here in a couple of days, I will be moving out of April. And I can't wait, right? There's some things that I will do different, but there's a lot of overcoming and successes that I've had. One of the successes that I've had in the month of April is that so far I've only missed one recording, and I was still able to do it and make sure that it was released where people could enjoy it, right? So that consistency to me is beneficial. I hope that today you will come away from the what ifs and you will come into your present relationship with your higher power and develop that trust and knowing that your higher power did not bring you this far to drop you off. I believe that with everything that I am. If you are here listening and you have breath in your body, I believe that it can get better. It can get better, but you won't even know that it's better if you're so busy worried about what ifs. You won't even be able to recognize the miracle coming into your life because you're so busy focused on a different direction. Like you're preparing for the storm, but the sun is shining over here, right? Have you ever done that? Ask someone, what's the weather like where you are? Oh, it's raining. Really? It's sunny here. We're only like, what, 10 miles apart? You guys have rain? We have the sun over here. Oh, well, I heard it's headed your direction. I hope not. I hope it stays right where you're at. So, yeah, I think that sometimes we are just focused on negativity because we've trained our minds to do that. But hopefully you realize this brain of ours, this muscle of a brain that we have can be retrained. But it takes practice. That's why I believe prayer and meditation is so powerful, because if you can learn how to still your mind, I'm not saying not acknowledge the thoughts that come because that's virtually impossible, but if you can take authority over them, tell them, not now, not now. I'm trying to rejuvenate my mind, my body, and my soul and turn back the hands of time. Because when you're not stressed out, when you're not, stressed out is the way to describe it. stressing your mind, your body, your heart, your organs out. When you're not doing that, even if it's 5 minutes, listen to me, listen to me. Please listen to this and take it the way that I mean it. When you are not stressing out and you are allowing your mind, your organs, your heart, your body, your blood, your air, your whole person to stop stressing. It's like cancer that goes into remission. You know it may come back, but you don't know when. But in the time that you know it's in remission, you need to flood your temple, your body, with as much positivity as possible. Change what you eat, change how you sleep, change how you talk, change how you walk, right? So that the potential for it to ever come back is decreased. And that's what I'm trying to say this morning, is that if you're a person that lives in the what if, you are deteriorating your physical person, your soul, your mind, your heart, your organs, just through that level of stress. But if you can get in the habit of making all of that worry, making all of that worry go away for a certain set period of time, you are giving your whole physical body, your mind, your spirit, and your physical body an opportunity to rejuvenate. I want you to start practicing the what now. I want you to start practicing the now, the present, and start increasing your stillness. There's all sorts of people that do meditation and guided meditation. And I'm not leaning into the Eastern style of meditation. I don't have a bell that I gong, and I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about what Brendan Bouchard talks about, just staying still, just telling the thoughts as they come, not now. Breathing in and breathing out. I'm talking about a type of meditation any person from any faith should be able to practice, right? Without feeling like they're compromising their faith. Because when you do this mindfulness, stilling everything, your body is thanking you. It's like drinking water. It's like going from being a person that never drinks water to being a person that drinks a gallon of water a day. Your body is saying, thank you. Thank you. You take a shower every day. Our organs need to be cleansed every day as well. Thank you for that water. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. You'll be amazed how well your organs work when you drink that much water. Your kidney, your liver. I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing the washing that takes place on the inside when you drink water. These are things that are rejuvenating for yourself. And I want you to figure out 5 different things that you can do. 5 different things that you can do to take better care of yourself. Send them to me in email. I'll hold you accountable. recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Send them and put the subject line, my 5 things. And I will keep you accountable. I will reach out to you and say, hey girl, or hey guy, what's going on with that? Did you eat any sugar this past week? You let the sugar go? Ah, that's tremendous. I want you to start practicing honoring your now. And that's what I'm going to close it with. Honor your now. I didn't realize I didn't stop sharing the screen. I really love to be on this, but it doesn't matter, right? I'll just have to practice making sure that I do that more often. And speaking of something that I haven't done in a while, the serenity prayer. I have not done that with you in a while. Let's go ahead and do the serenity prayer and close out on that. Moment of silence now. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for the day. Hey, you make it an awesome day. My name is MightyStream. I'm excited about what's in front of myself and what's in front of you. What's in front of you? You know what? I told you that April 30th is a significant day. And it is. It has been for the last 36 years or so. But you know what? It's going to come and it's going to go. God willing, the next day will arrive and I will wake up and do the same thing, the same beautiful things that I've done to get myself through. If I can do it, you can do it, right? Practice your now. Honor your now. Talk to you tomorrow.